Thank you very much. It's great to be back with IGHNX, and it's great to see everybody here so passionate about what I am passionate about. So, where are you? It's a big question. So, I'm going to ask you to turn to the person on your right and ask them that question. Where are you? If you've gotten that answer, just scream the answer out. Who's got an answer? Do you have the answer?
Earth.
What did she say? You have to scream it. On Earth. Anybody else? We need 3 people. Ireland. RCS, perfect. In fact, we've achieved so much already. We've got 3 locations, right? We've got RCSI, Ireland, Earth. 3 people shouted it, they screamed it, and today is the 3rd of October. That's it, we all can go home now. But that's not what it is. The question is, where are you in this fight to save where we live? The planet is a gift. We all know that. Without it, who are we as humans? One of the things I love about IGHN is this big theme that they have about humanity. Because that's what we are. And for us to be that, where we are, where we live, where we reside, the place we call home, should speak humanity. Well, I found my location in a very chaotic, crowded, screaming market women in Mushi, Lagos, Nigeria. It was a raining day, and as a first child, my mom was like, oh, we need tomatoes, and I knew at the back of my head, yeah, it's Eunice, she's the one that's gonna go out in that rain. And you can't say no. I mean, you don't say no to an African mom, we all know that, right? Yeah. So I did, and I went there, and all of them had this lovely plastic bag, multicolored, over all their wares. And every downpour still could not drown their screaming for me to come and buy the tomatoes from them. But what it did is that it swept along all the rubbish, including the one that my crayfish seller just dropped on the floor. For me, that was my moment. Because I thought, that bag is actually going to hang up in front of my house in the gutter, and on a Saturday, where we call Environmental Sanitation Day back home, I might be the one to pick that up. But the reality of that did not sink in until 5 years later, when I met this amazing girl in my emergency department. Amina comes in every single Friday, unfailingly, with an asthmatic attack. And until we asked her one day, until I asked her actually one day, what happens in your home? And she looked at me and said, oh, Dad and Mom, it's a long story, I'm not gonna shut. Well, anyway. But what that question did was that it allowed me to see another aspect of this whole issue of climate change or climate impact or planetary health. We begin to give it so much names now that we might get confused along the line. But at the end of the day, what it is us standing together to actually make an impact in this world where we live. Amina has no fault. She was only 5. The parents had no fault. They were poor, and all they could cook with is this kerosene stove that gives this girl this, exacerbates her asthmatic attack. I can't solve that because I didn't have money then. Moving forward, where I am now, I've done research in Malawi with a whole community. We looked at cook stoves. We looked at so many other things. We gave them windows, we gave them better stoves. But that's not where they were. They were actually at the point where all that mattered to them in this big thing about climate change is actually the fact that they were poor. So my message to you today centers around what Rachel talked about. You have to find your own location. It's a big fight. But as humans, we have gone through this already. We've done the pandemics, we've done the epidemics, we've done a whole nation underwater. We're expecting more. But we've always come out on top. What I believe happens is we are resilient and we take actions. But in this fight of climate change, most of us have actually become complacent. We've become a silent gambler at the table. People are rolling dice and you're whispering, it's 6. Because you don't want to be wrong. You don't want to be called far right, far left, far center, but that's not the point. The point is you have to have your pin drop location. Without it, you cannot act as a human being. Because you didn't just watch that 6-year-old in DRC mining cobalt mine so that you can change your iPhone 10 to iPhone 11 without nothing wrong with it. What it means is that each time you see the flood in Europe, you say, oh my God, oh, I should probably send them some canned foods. But you would always forget to see the underlying factor that contributes to all this. And that is the fact that we've lost that sense of humanity. If we have it, if we keep it, if we hold on to it, we will realize that for our every action, reaction, intentional, unintentional, adds up together to that moment when we know the planet will save itself if we are no longer here. I think the pandemic was a clear example. I could hear the birds. I've never heard the birds where I lived in Cork. Forget it. Like, I heard every morning, like cars passing by. Oh, bye, Mom. That was all I heard until the pandemic. That was when I knew there was a parrot not too far from me. So it's not about the planet getting saved. It's about us as humans having a place in the next 100 years. We could do it. It's possible. The only way that we will fail is if we do not write it in our scripts of our everyday life starting from today. We will fail if we do not have actors. If our actors are not politicians, you, my mom, my dad, people around us, if they are not players, that's when we'll fail. And it's not about the big things. It could be the little things. You know, we talk about politicians being so big and so full of power, but we keep forgetting the fact that they're actually a part of somebody's family. A family is the smallest unit of any community. If we can reach out to each member that we have, people that we know, and just chat, it's not about clearing the placard alone. I think that's exactly clear in what Rachel is saying. I went to UK to see my aunts over the summer, and I travel with my metal straw just because that paper thing just does not do it for me. Like, it becomes so wobbly, and I'm afraid I'm, whatever. And I used it, and she was like, and she's elderly, she's like in her 80s, and she's like, what's that? She's Nigerian, so, yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what it is, And she was like, you carried that all the way from Ireland? All the way from Dublin. She says, everybody thinks Ireland is Dublin. And I said, yes. And she was like, oh, I'll use these professors. That was what she said. But you know what? A week after I left her, she called me and said, oh, I found that thing you were using in the store, and I bought it. Those are small changes. Doesn't look big. To me, it is huge. To her, it's definitely huge because now she thinks like she's in the face of I'm arrived. It's those little things we're looking for. It's recognizing that our actions and reactions create a ripple. And it's okay if you're not there yet. For those of us that got it, we're here. And we're doing it slowly. But please, do something. Thank you.